The Bucks were in this game until they weren't. They dropped another winnable game, this time against Golden State, breaking down the critical moments that cost the Bucks in this one, plus what they need to do differently going forward on today's episode of Locked On Bucks.
You are Locked On Bucks, your daily Milwaukee Bucks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What it do, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Bucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network out here, your team every day. I'm Camille Davis, an NBA analyst with the Locked On Network and the co-host of the Technical File podcast. Appreciate you for tuning in and making Locked On Bucks your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, as well as on YouTube. I am running solo tonight. I have been battling a virus for like a month now. So excuse my voice if it goes out at any point, but there's a lot to cover on this show. I'm going to be pulling in some post-game clips from Doc Rivers, from Kevin Porter Jr., from Giannis, from Ryan Rollins. And we're going to be breaking down on today's show two critical stretches in the game that I thought cost the Bucks in this one, plus taking a look at the ongoing problem of Giannis-less minutes. Also going to take a look around the league at some other outcomes of interest to the Bucks, and then take a look ahead at the rest of this road trip for the team. But to start, how the Bucks dropped another game that was winnable. It was winnable for them. So this game, the Bucks dropped to the Warriors 120-113. Look at the box score. You see Giannis did his thing, 34 points. You see that all of the Bucks starters were in double-digit scoring. You had Kyle Kuzma with 13 off the bench. So ultimately 6 guys that scored in double figures. But like Kendrick said, it's not enough. It's not enough. And honestly, this is one of those games for the Bucks where I would feel a bit differently about it if the Bucks weren't currently the 11th seed in the East. If the Bucks weren't fighting to climb out of a hole that they've dug themselves in, right? This game would feel a little different. You just kind of be like, hey, two good teams playing each other. Bucks lost in this particular matchup. But that's just not quite the case because, again, of where the Bucks are. Still this season have not won 3 games in a row. Kevin Porter Jr. was asked about that aspect of it of, hey, so close again to finally getting that 3rd win in a row. How are you taking this loss?
Hey, sometimes it's a game, guys. I think we just got to weather the storm, continue to weather the storm. And we'll get 3. There's a lot of games to be played, still, and every opportunity we want it. But we gonna win 3 in a row. I'm confident of it.
I hope so. I came into this road trip saying, hey, I think 2-2 is the baseline. If the Bucks could go 3-1, that's a really good road trip for them. Now, 3-1 is still on the table, but it hurts to lose a game where you were in it. You had the opportunity to win it, but you weren't able to. After the game, Giannis was also asked about this game, how it felt to drop this one. And he made mention of the fact that he actually thinks that this Bucks team is closer to figuring it out than they are to the other end of that spectrum, which is letting it all fall apart.
The habits you're trying to build.
We are, but our belief got to be higher. We are, but our belief got to be higher. We got to believe. We got to believe that this is going to be a great comeback. Yeah, as I say, comeback story. We have to believe, and I think at times we do, and we have 2-3 good games, and then at times we just flat. We cannot afford that. Our margin of error is not what it was 5 years ago. We cannot make a lot of mistakes because we are going to be out of the race. But at the end of the day, we have to believe that we are a good team and we can play against anybody and try to win a game. That's all you can ask for, right? We are not the 2019-2020 Milwaukee Bucks that we came in and beat everybody by 10, 15 points. We're not that team, but we are a team that have a chance every single night to win a game. But we have to put ourselves in a position to win the game. Yeah. I think sometimes our belief is not there, but we are closer than farther. We are closer. We are getting there.
I think for me, hearing like that, the belief has to be there for this team. I think at times what you see too often is that the offense dissolves, I'll say, into an over reliance on isolation basketball. And I think it's because, guys really want to make an impact. They want to make sure they're helping out Giannis. They want to try to win the game. And they go away from the things that this team was really constructed to do: create advantages by using a Giannis, a Kevin Porter Jr., a Kyle Kuzma, a Ryan Rollins to drive, draw in defenses, kick, move the ball, find some other actions outside of that, and continue to create for others, passing up good shots for great shots. And at times, this team gets just too reliant on trying to do it all by themselves. And when that happens, you can see the offense grind to a halt, especially when those shots aren't falling, especially during stretches in the game where the Bucks are turning the ball over. So you're losing out on possessions, right? So they just got to be better. They got to continue to play together. And I think belief is in each other. Belief is in, hey, we're at our best when everyone's touching the ball, when this mug is moving, when, you know what I mean? Like, we don't want difficult shots. We don't want the actions to really start getting ran when there's under 10 seconds left on the shot clock. We need to be consistently moving. Playing with pace isn't necessarily just how quickly you're bringing the ball up and down the court. It's how you're actually moving in your actions. And at times for the Bucks, they get too stagnant pace-wise and too stagnant ball movement-wise. They have to continue moving the ball, even through moments of frustration. If the game ain't going the way you think it should, even through all of that, you have to continue to play the same way. And you could see the frustration really mounting to end the first half with Kevin Porter Jr. and Ryan Rollins in particular. I think that the frustration kind of helped spark the run to end the second quarter for the Warriors. They got to continue to play through it. Like I made mention after the Sacramento Kings game, how proud I was of this group for the way that they were able to continue to play through the chippiness, play through the talking, play through it all, play through a hostile environment with this team making a comeback on you when you were up, 26, 27 points. They found a way to stay together, stay composed, and pull out a victory, close it out down the stretch. And I felt like they did not do a great job of closing things out down the stretch of the first half in this game. They were better in the second half. I will give them that. They were better in the second half. But that moment to end the first half, it really showed a lot. And I kind of thought that the whistle might be Golden State friendly after seeing Steve Kerr get ejected during their last game against the Clippers. The man was irate. Went off on the rest by all the missed calls that he felt his team weren't getting. And it was hilarious hearing it with Snoop Dogg commentating over it, but ultimately he went to bat for his team. And that's the piece of it all where I think that's an area where Doc can continue to step up. Post-game, he was kind of getting there.
Their composure.
I thought in the first half we didn't do a good job of it. But listen, I also thought veteran teams like this get away with things like how you don't look at the flagrant foul is ridiculous, right? And listen, I'm a big Draymond Green fan before I say that. And the reason I am is because he's such an instigator, all right? But they call a tech in the first half on Scoop after Draymond Green's waving his hands at refs, yelling at refs, but then they call a tech on Scoop. I mean, give me a break. Clear flagrant foul. It was a wind-up. It was impact. They didn't even look. And then they all three come out at halftime, said, man, we blew that. That was a flagrant. We should have looked. I'm like, my only question is, well, what were you looking at? I mean, you called a foul, so you saw something. You know, it's really frustrating there. And so in what I'm saying in our defense, they see that's frustrating. I mean, Scoot said, I barely say anything to the ref and I got a tech. I'm hearing this guy cuss at him and nothing. And so that's frustrating.
The everydayers should know this about me at this point. I am not someone who likes to blame refs for outcomes. I think generally there are more plays at bat here that have an outcome on the game than what the referees do. But I like when coaches stand up for their guys, right? Because you don't want the players getting distracted during the game, as we saw to end the first half for the team. I want to see more of that from Doc Rivers, but not just in postgame. Maybe get ejected from a game yourself. Maybe pull that Steve Kerr, let that emotion, or at least get a tech, get something to go to bat for your guys while they're out there actually in the heat of the battle. Show them that you're battling with them. Like, that's not a strategy I would recommend to do game in and game out, because then it loses some of the pizzazz. But if the whistles keep going the way that they have been for the Bucks to a degree, I think it's going to be time for Doc to take what he was saying post game, move that to end game for at least a moment to try to get a reaction, get some respect from the refs going forward. And Giannis was also asked about the refereeing, because one of the plays Doc mentioned of how was it not a flagrant involved Giannis, where Draymond came straight down on his arms. I found Giannis's comments on the refs really interesting. So I want to play those for you after this, plus break down the two critical stretches during this game that I thought cost the Bucks. We'll get into all that right after this. Let's be real, y'all. Managing finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions that you forgot about, bills that can keep piling up and going up, and trying to figure out where all your money is actually going every single month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who really has the time to track down every single transaction or hunt down every single fee? That's where Rocket Money comes in. It's the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. You can set budgets and goals. You can get personalized insights, and you can receive real-time alerts for large transactions, upcoming bills, plus low balance alerts, which is always nice to get. It can even consolidate your checking, your saving, your loans, and your investments into a single dashboard, so you get a clear picture of your entire financial situation. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/locked-on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on. This episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. As we roll into the new year, there can be a lot of pressure to chase a new you. But sometimes it's not even really about reinventing yourself. What it's really about is feeling a little less weighed down. Therapy can help you understand what's been holding you back by giving you an outside perspective on your emotions, your motivations, and your relationships. And that's why BetterHelp can be such a helpful place to start. Their therapists are fully licensed in the US, and they work under a strict code of conduct. They help match you with the therapist based on your needs and preferences, so you don't have to do any of that legwork on your own. And if the match you get initially is not the right fit, you can switch to another therapist from their tailored recommendations at any time. BetterHelp has served over 5 million people with more than 30,000 therapists, and live sessions average about a 4.5 out of 5 rating across more than 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/NBA. That's betterhelp.com/NBA. Appreciate you tuning in to Locked On Bucks, making us that first listen every single day, especially after the losses. Me struggling through my throat. It's late. It is late. We're not even in the same day that the game was played. We done moved on to the next day. We are in the future at this point. But you already live your team every day, so take it up another level. Go ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club. You'll get Locked On Bucks, no interruptions, member-only Discord, and more for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Head to lockedonbucks.supercast.com or just check the link that's in the show notes to learn more. And if you do join the club and you hit that Discord, at me, because I be wanting to have the conversations. I be in the YouTube comments every so often as I can, try to comment with people, especially the ones I see in here every day, the everydayers. So if you join the Discord, make sure that you get at me. Now, mention the refereeing, right? Felt like you have to. Giannis was asked about the refereeing in this game, and we all know Giannis don't like to say too much. He's trying to keep that money close to the vest. But I thought his comments on the reffing was very interesting, and I wanted you guys to hear it as well.
I have my people that are around me, my coaches tell me like, hey man, you're so hard to be officiating, and you're having the shot treatment, like they foul you and they don't call nothing, you just play through contact, right? So, but yeah, I understand that, and I'm okay with that. I love it. I love playing that way. But you know, I have a basket, which I thought, my opinion, I thought it was an N1. Coming down, I get pushed. Did anybody saw that? I was the only person that saw that. You guys ever saw that? I'm not crazy, right? Why is that not called? So like, but I understand that they're human. You know, there's sometimes the same way I fall into the momentum of the game, and I might approach a referee and like raise my voice because of my you know how you say, like, I'm in the game, I'm playing and it's loud and all that, and I might raise my voice sometimes. I feel like sometimes they do the same, and they're human, and I understand, and you just got to be able to live with it and try not to complain. But that's not the reason we lost. That's not the reason we lost. Golden State played better than us. We did not trust one another. We didn't have good shot selection. We didn't rebound the ball. There was a time our effort and energy was good, and a time it was flat. And they did the complete opposite, so they was able to win the game.
And again, like I said, this game would feel a lot different if the Bucks weren't currently 11th in the East. You can forgive a performance a time or two where a team comes out flat. Not as much in this situation where it's like, hey, man, you need these games. You need to keep stacking these games. And I also love the fact that Giannis did just say, like, hey, the Warriors, they played better than us tonight. Every time I get to see the Steph versus Giannis matchup, even though they're not holding each other, it's just two greats on the court at the same time. I'm always appreciative of it. And my goodness, Steph Curry is just fun to watch play basketball. Like, I think an underrated aspect of his game at this point is his handle. Like, his handle is tight. Like, it was a moment, I think in the second, maybe the third quarter, where he was chased off the three-point line by Ryan Rollins. Miles Turner was reaching in. You have Rollins coming behind him. Giannis is shading, so there's like three bodies kind of around him. He keeps the dribble alive without any problem and gets a floater off. Like, he's tough even outside of the threes that we're so used and known coming from Steph Curry. But I also mentioned two big moments in this game, critical moments that I thought really swung the game. The first critical point in this game, in my opinion, came in the second quarter to end the second quarter. I mentioned it a bit in the first segment. It was 53-50 Warriors, right? And up to that point, game was back and forth affair where it was like, okay, this is going to be a good game right here. Like they throwing haymaker, they throwing punches, they here for it. And that 50th point for the Bucks came on a big finish from Giannis. He finished through Draymond after blowing by Melton. And he had big emotion after that one, yelling and one, not directly in Draymond's face because he didn't want to get that taunting call on him. It was kind of like past Draymond, but you knew it was up to Draymond. Draymond knew it too. He even kind of pushed Giannis going back up the floor. But then Giannis picked up his third foul immediately after that. That happened to be his third foul, so he had to check out the game. 2:24 left to go in the second quarter. 3-point game with Jimmy Butler heading to the free throw line. And everything swung from that point. The Warriors went on an 11-0 run from that point. Ended the quarter on 11-3 run in its totality because AJ Green hit a three kind of to end the half with like 8 seconds left in the second quarter. But you go from the game being 53-50 with momentum feeling like it's being built because Giannis was starting to really roll, right? And then you go into half and you're actually down by 11. It's a hole to dig yourself out of now. And then third quarter, they got off to a hot start in the third quarter. Warriors battle back. they still have a deficit that they're facing in the fourth quarter. And then that fourth quarter, the Warriors left the door open for the Bucks to end it, but the Bucks were not able to capitalize over it. Like, you hear like Silk Sonic, like they gonna leave the door open. That was the Warriors was singing that. They was singing that, and the Bucks could not walk through that mug to save their life. Like, the Warriors went like 3.5 minutes without scoring any field goals. The Bucks just could not generate enough offense down the stretch. And again, when you're digging yourself in the holes, you got to dig yourself out of them. In the game, in the standings, your margin for error is thin. You have to play well when you already have the deck stacked against you. Ryan Rollins was asked about this a bit after the game, and I want you to hear what he said, because he made mention of how perfect you need to play when you are facing a deficit.
And I think we were just fighting back for the majority of the fourth quarter, which kind of got it close. Middle of the fourth, kind of missed some shots, and they made some shots too. But it's kind of tough when you're just battling back for the whole fourth quarter. You got to kind of play perfect, and I think we played pretty well. We competed. It's just they hit some shots, we missed some shots.
When you try to play perfect, is that pressing? Like, do you feel like you were pressing at all?
Not pressing, but mistakes and missed shots hit home a little more when you have to play perfect.
Mistakes and missed shots hit differently when you got to play perfect, and he is not telling a lie. Because in the fourth quarter, even before the stretch when the Warriors scoring dried up, the Bucks were letting Draymond Green shoot threes. Like, they're shots. Shoot them if you want to with your little backpack shot. Draymond really do look like he shoot with a backpack on his back. But he made 2 of them back to back in a very critical moment in the game for the Warriors when it was like just under 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You had Giannis with back-to-back buckets. First, he had a mid-range shot, which we haven't seen many of those go, but he had a couple drop for him against Golden State. Then he had a transition layup. Then it was a 10-point game with like 4.5 minutes left. Then you got a AJ Green 3 off of a Kevin Porter Jr. assist. Then it was a 7-point game with just over 2 minutes to go. And that was the margin that the Bucks could not get any closer. They lose the game ultimately by 7 points. Not only did they lose the game by 7 points, but another crucial area for the Bucks here, the Giannis-less minutes. They lost those again. Like, ultimately, that third foul really slowed down Giannis's momentum in the second quarter. And it's one of those things where 2 things can be true. Multiple things are true, right? That was a very ill-timed foul, especially the fact that the second foul was away from the basket. It was near half court, just a bad foul to have. Like, Giannis is so important to this team that he cannot be in foul trouble. Again, margins of errors for this team are very slim. They need every piece working at the level that we expect. And the Bucks also have to be better than non-Giannis minutes. You can say I'm asking for a lot, but I just don't want them to be losing these minutes by 10, 13, 15 points. You take a look at the minutes in this game, right? Giannis checked out 4:43 in the first quarter. They were down by 1 point. He checked back in the second quarter, 7:56 left to go. They're down by 8. Okay, so 7-point swing there. Checks out of the second quarter with the 3 fouls. They're down by 3. They start the third quarter down by 11. Check out in the third quarter. They're down by 16. So he was in the game during the stretch where the Warriors were able to build their lead with him in the game. Okay, down 16. Checks back in the fourth quarter, down by 13. He plays that last 10 minutes to finish the game. The Bucks lose by 7. They have to be better in the non-Giannis minutes. Doc Rivers also said just as much as that after the game as well.
Yeah. That's the other margin we lost. Like the minutes Giannis was a plus, and we got to keep searching. We have to play those minutes at least even. You can't be minus 13s in those minutes, and some of our guys were.
Doc said even. I'll take even just the -3. Like, don't let it be a double-digit gap that Giannis has to try to catch up on himself when he checks back into the game. But let's take a look ahead at what's next for the Bucks, as well as look around the East and some outcomes that affect the Bucks. Plus, that Trae Young trade that we talked about on yesterday's show, It actually happened. So a lot more right after this. Fridays always feel good, and they already feel different during basketball season. Hope they feel really good for the Bucks on Friday in LA against the Lakers, but FanDuel is here to make them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with what they're calling NBA Happy Hour. An NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame. It's a limited window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action actually starts. It goes on Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, aka 5 to 6:30 Central Time, and they have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Open that FanDuel app during that time frame, and it'll bring you something new every single time. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, and it's easy to check out the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window actually closes. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every single Friday, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 5 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Little basketball, little action, a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And please gamble responsibly. A look around the East. So after the loss against Golden State, the Bucks remain in the 11 seed. Still there, still hanging out in 11, still top of the lottery right now in the East. The Pistons beat the Bulls, which, would help if the Bucks were able to get a victory out of this one. And then you had the Nuggets out here beating the Celtics. They beat the Celtics 114 to 110. The Bucks, as we know, they finish up this 4-game road trip in Denver against a shorthanded Denver team without Nikola Jokic. Against the Celtics tonight, they did have Jamal Murray back. They did have Christian Braun, and they did have Aaron Gordon. Brown and Murray started. I think Murray had like 17 assists in this game too. Like, he had himself a game. But they still have Aaron Gordon coming off the bench, trying to work his way back into the rotation, back in a bigger minute. So this is a Nuggets team that the Bucks went in the road trip with that is not going to be a pushover. I mean, we saw just as much with as one of the hosts of Locked On Nuggets called them the Divine Nine that beat who they play on Monday night. I can't remember the Sixers in overtime, where they only had 9 active players, none of the 5 starters, and they found a way to win in overtime. Here you still have them shorthanded, although with more weapons than what they had in Philly. And they found a way to beat the Celtics, the 2 seed in the East. Now the 3 seed after the loss, because they dropped back. Now the Knicks are back to being a 2 seed. But you get what I'm saying? A good team. They beat another one shorthanded. This is not going to be a team that the Bucks can overlook at the end of the road trip, just because Nikola Jokic is not going to be there. Again, have to play good ball. Put together 48 minutes of good basketball. They have to. They can't have these stretches as we saw in the game against the Warriors. You can't have that. The next Bucks opponent, the Lakers, they caught an L. They caught an L tonight against the Spurs. There was no LeBron in that game. Second night of a back-to-back for the Lakers. They sat LeBron. LeBron made some very pointed comments about how he's put enough minutes in where he don't feel the need to play back-to-backs that consistently anymore at this point in his career, which is interesting given the injuries he had to begin the season. And now with this, I believe he can only miss like one more game to still qualify for All-NBA, and that's probably a pipe dream at this point, which will bring to the close a very impressive streak of All-NBA appearances. I believe 20 or 21 straight All-NBA appearances for LeBron that could come to a close, but seems like he'll be available on Friday in LA against the Bucks, which is the next game for this team. Again, a 3-1 road trip is still on the table. They have to play better for longer stretches more consistently than what we saw tonight, yesterday against the Warriors, right? They just have to be better. They have to be better. The margin of error is too slim for them to have mistakes. They cannot be turning the ball over. They have to make sure that they limit opposing teams' second chance opportunities. They have to make sure that they're not fouling themselves. And the Warriors are a great team at kind of foul grifting a bit with Jimmy Butler being over there. So Bucks did a decent job with that. Only 18 free throws for the Warriors. But again, got to be tight. Got to make sure you have everything in order going forward. So it seems like we're going to get like we'll see Giannis versus LeBron Friday night in LA. Should be a really good game. Again, the pressure would feel differently if the Bucks weren't currently 11th in the East, but that is their reality, and they got to play through that pressure, and they got to figure things out. We've heard guys say they think they're closer to figuring it out than they are away from it. I'm glad to hear that there's still belief in that locker room, because there are definitely some questions with this roster as currently constructed, questions with this roster as currently being utilized as well. So we'll see. Well, we'll have more Locked On Bucks to break that matchup down further. But also want to mention the Bucks did waive two-way guard Mark Sear, so the Bucks have an open two-way slot for him. And the trade, it happened. Trae Young is no longer an Atlanta Hawk. The Bucks haven't even played the Hawks not one time this season. They didn't get to see Trae in Atlanta this year. He's now a Wizard, being traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. No draft picks went out in that trade, which was a little surprising for me, but the Hawks are now building around Jalen Johnson. That is their guy going forward. And it doesn't seem to me like the Hawks might be done dealing ahead of this trade deadline. So something to keep an eye on, especially given the fact that the Hawks are currently the 9 seed, tied in the loss column with the Bucks at 21. So again, the Bucks still have an opportunity to climb out of this hole that they have dug themselves into, because you look at the standings, 21 losses for the Bucks, 20 losses for the Bulls, 21 for the Hawks. You jump them to you in the 9 seed, you back and play in contention, right? And you look at the 6 seed, the Orlando Magic, 17 losses, because as Justin has been pointing out, if you want to look at the losses, don't look at the games behind the losses you can't change. They are stuck on your record. 4 games back in the loss column from the 6 seed. Opportunity is still there, because the East is the East, you know what I mean? And now you have Trae Young out of Atlanta, but hey, the Hawks got more dubs with him out the lineup than they did with him in it so far this season. So far, it's just like, hey, the Bucks won't see Trae at all, because they have already played their 4 games against the Wizards, have not seen the Hawks. So there will be no Trae Young versus the Bucks this season, which is so strange to really think about, at least to me. So as I mentioned, we will be back with another episode of Locked On Bucks tomorrow with a more detailed preview of that Lakers game. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making Locked On Bucks your first listen every single day. Make sure you subscribe, follow Locked On Bucks so you never miss an episode. You get them all. And you can find me at Camille Monet on the socials. I got to this game late tonight, so I'm finishing this up now. It's just after 2 a.m., 2:17 to be exact. I had to record ahead of the pack. Check that out. Subscribe to that. Previewing Packers Bears before I got to this Bucks game. So a late night. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, tuning in. And as I mentioned, make sure you also tap into the Everydayer Club. Get Locked On Bucks ad-free. Members only Discord access. And if you in the Discord, hit your girl up. I want to talk to you about this Bucks team in this season. We got to be there for each other. Head to lockedonbucks.supercast.com to join that Everydayer Club. For those of you who are watching on video, I'm going to send you right on over to the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On the audio side of things, make sure that you make that second listen NBA game night on Locked On NBA. I really do appreciate you for tuning in, for making Locked On Bucks #1 listen. I will catch you later on the show later on this week.